Sup, bitches? Welcome to the Ethereal podcast, the Ethereal experience, whatever you want to call it. I am DM Tryptamine, Kid Indigo on Twitter, and this is my good friend.
I'm Heterodox Hippie, also known as Jay. Welcome to the Ethereal experience.
Tonight we will be covering a lot of subjects, but it will all be based around spiritual stereotypes. That's what we're going to start off with.
So, the first spiritual stereotype that I think probably gets a little too much attention on Twitter would definitely have to be the good vibes only.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
That really pisses me off.
People seem to get this impression that if you're spiritual, you can only be happy. And...
yeah.
That's bullshit.
I mean, there's a other side of the pole for a reason.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, we weren't sent here to just pretend we're happy all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like, without the bad experiences, without the depression or the heartache, without any of that shit, you wouldn't be human, if you know what I'm saying.
That's entirely true. Like, we're incarnated into a physical body so that we can fully experience, like, a spectrum of emotion. Like, that is the purpose of this shit. So when someone starts going, hey, good vibes only, like, it makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, I like what you're trying to get at. It's cool. I wish it was kind of good vibes only. That'd be nice to have, like, just everyone on the same page being awesome as fuck to each other. That won't happen, and that would get old really quick for me, at least.
I don't think it would kind of allow the kind of growth that we do currently allow. And I think people seem to forget that, because if you're focusing on the good vibes only, like, you're completely disregarding any lesson that these kind of bad or negative vibes have for you.
Yeah. What he's saying. Like, I talked to this religious dude, like, a few weeks ago, and then we got in a, like, sort of a debate. I wouldn't call it that because it wasn't really a debate, but I was talking about, like, Freemasonry and the Illuminati, the Illuminati basically, pretty much, and he was like, well, that doesn't matter, that's man-made, we have God, as long as you believe in God, it doesn't matter. I'm like, the fuck, that's basically good vibes only. Like, while all this evil shit goes on in the world, you're just gonna say, as long as you believe in God, it doesn't matter, it's okay, God will take care of it. Well, what about the Holocaust? Like, that's a primitive fucking mindset.
I completely agree. Like,
that epitomizes good vibes only. Oh, ignore the bad, let God take care of it.
I mean,
totally, man.
Do you think God would take care of the bad? I mean, fucking hell. Like, if they...
shit.
If you believe in this God, like, if you believe in this ultimate power that's guiding everything, then surely he has the ability to stop these bad vibes if he
But he can't,
so
because of
to.
free will. No, it can't happen, man.
It's just... it shows to me that there is a clear, definitive purpose for these bad vibes.
Yeah. It's stupid. People get mad as shit at us whenever we just bash people that are like, good vibes only. And they're like, why? Good vibes are the best. They'll lead you to enlightenment. I'm like, I don't think it works that way.
I would personally say that what people would consider bad vibes is what has led me to the person I am today. More so than these good vibes, so...
Like, at one time, I wasn't even aware of it, but I was all about good vibes only until I was like 14 and dropped acid and woke up. I was all about this. I was ignoring all the bad and just living life mindlessly. I was just one of the sheep, and then everything changed like one day, and I went through a lot of shit that I don't really feel the need to go into, but yeah, it's just, without that, I wouldn't be me. And I like the person I am now a lot better than the person I was 5 years ago.
I think most people tend to you know, they go through some kind of suffering, and then once you come out the other end, like, you may not be recognizable before, like, as the person you were before you went in, but
yeah,
you always come out, like, either a better person or, like, entirely broken, so... But,
for some people I know or see on my feed, they're entirely broken.
Oh, shit.
But yeah.
So,
good vibes only, bro.
yeah, I'll let you pick the next stereotype.
That, oh yeah, good vibes only. We need to talk about the polarity and the evil of polarity consciousness.
Oh shit! Actually, yeah, that's important.
Oh yeah.
I'll let you start.
No, you're very like polarity consciousness and the evil behind it. You're savvy of that, so you could start that,
Okay.
and then I'll just follow.
Yeah, okay. Well, so polarity consciousness is basically painting the world as black or white, you know, good or bad, and
right or wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's personally actually what I'm basing my first book on. Is going to be not polarity consciousness itself, but the transcendence of polarity consciousness. Because if you're always looking at an experience as either good or bad, then you're never really kind of embracing the situation for what it is. Like,
yeah, you're not embracing the now and just each moment.
You're too caught up saying, yeah, this is bad for you, this is good for you. It's like, it is what it is. You make it.
Yeah. It's like the most underestimated quote of all time, really. Or misunderstood quote of all time. Yeah. They don't really understand the gravity of that quote itself. Like, it's so simple, but yet grand, and just people can't really wrap their minds around it. Like, I don't know.
I think, kind of as we develop more as a collective, I think people are going to begin to see the kind of mistakes that they're making when they're saying, yeah, this is bad, this is good, because if something was good or bad, it wouldn't be thrown to you. Like, you can't pick and choose the experiences are what are here to create you. So calling one good or bad is like saying that actually, you know, something's not good, something wasn't meant to happen, or something wasn't meant to make you the person you are now. And I mean, I don't agree with that.
I agree with your saying, and like whenever I talk to people about how it like hurts the world at large on a grand scale, and they're like, how does good and bad, or I'll go to this polarity of right and wrong, affect the world? And they're like, well, for instance, for thousands of years we've killed each other because one culture worships a god a different way than the other, and they think it's wrong. They think they're right and we're wrong. The other culture are wrong, like the other society.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying, like
I get you entirely. I mean, that's what
like,
a lot of religious wars are based on. It's saying like,
yeah,
you're praying to the wrong god. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna kill you over it because that's what God wants. God would want me to fight and kill other people over it.
Over his name, or over what incarnation they believe he is, or whatever. Like,
oh yeah, this is a bunch of stupid shit that I can't really understand.
I guess it's a growing experience. Like, it's kind of,
yeah.
I personally don't see like death as like such a huge kind of you know, the worst of the worst, because I mean,
ancient civilizations, they in ancient times they celebrated death.
Exactly. I think we should. Okay, maybe we shouldn't go back to celebrating it, because like, people wouldn't quite understand it. But I think death symbolizes, you know, like moving on. It symbolizes progress. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad or negative or sad thing.
Yeah, like I'll use this as an example. Whenever like a caterpillar goes into is about to become a butterfly, it thinks it's dead or dying, but really it's just
transforming.
It's a stepping stone to transforming and being something more, and just the beginning of something new. And that's what I think death is. It's a doorway to whatever's next. I can't speak for what's next. I have my own views on what's after death, but I don't want to say that because just thoughts.
I mean,
possibilities.
Chang Tzu, he had a very, very kind of profound quote on it, which was, "Death is not the end, and birth is not a beginning." And like, if you really read into what the sentiment of that means, it's death isn't gonna end anything, and birth wasn't where you began. Like, it's a cycle. So, I guess that about covers Good Vibes Only. So I think I'll let you pick the next stereotype.
Shit. How some people, whenever you tell them you're spiritual, they think you're only spiritual just so you could opt out of going to church and being a churchgoer and partaking in religion and shit.
Yeah.
I've had to deal with that a lot.
I personally haven't had that much experience in it, but I don't live where... I live in more of a kind of multicultural place, so I don't really have as big issues with that as you probably do in the Bible Belt.
Well, it's the worst. I hate living here. I mean, I like the scenery because it's nice, but the people are fucking backwards. So backwards. They have their heads up their asses. Like, if you don't worship Jesus, you worship the devil. I'm like, oh yeah, 666, bro, all day, every day.
I personally, like, when I speak to religious people, it tends to be, you know, like, there's like a church hierarchy, and there's the people who attend church, and then there's the people who lead the church. Like, when I speak to the people who lead the church, you know, they stand up, they preach and all that shit. They are actually, to me, a lot more kind of flexible in their views.
Oh yeah.
They're a lot more understanding of my point of view, but the people who actually attend church, they tend to be quite radical and extreme, and they go, nah, you know, like, you don't believe in God, then you must be like Satan worshipper, or I mean, the people I go to, because I do quite a lot of like spiritual psychic development kind of class shit like that. Some of them identify as Wiccan, so, you know, like witches, and when my mom, basically, because she goes to this class with me, like, I talked her into it, when she told her boyfriend about it, it was like, why you hang around those witches? Like, it was some, like, it was kind of this really weird label got painted on her because she was hanging around Wiccans, and I was like, that's kind of what the church does to everyone that isn't in the church.
Yeah. It's just, I wish that they offer those classes around here. I mean, they have places you could go for palm readings and tarot cards and shit like that, and future telling, but I don't know. They have nothing like that around here. I wish I could find that shit.
I had a tarot reading today. That was pretty awesome.
I remember the tarot reading you gave me. I was like, shit, you blew my mind.
That was quite funny.
Yeah.
So, I can't even remember the initial point we were on.
yeah.
If you're spiritual, then you must, like, worship Satan or something. Or you do it to get out of church.
Yeah, but when I try to, like, tell them about what it's all about and why I meditate and why I study the Kundalini, the chakras, and meditation, I'm not very, I'm kind of oblivious to yogi and all that. I'll admit that. I mean, I haven't really dived deep into that shit yet, but I will. And, yeah, they don't understand, like, I think that with meditation and spiritualism and just focusing on self and working on what's within, because what's within does project outwards on others. When you perfect what's within, you're at peace with all. I mean, you see the oneness, and when I explain oneness to people, they're like, "What the hell?" I remember I had a conversation with like a way overly religious person who believed the Bible word for word, he's like, the world is 6,000 years old. I'm like, oh, it is. You're right about that. I mean, and I was like, what do you think God is? He asked me, what do you think God is? And I was like, everything. It's like, what do you mean everything? I was like, the grass, you, me, that chick over there, everything, the stars, like the entire cosmos itself. It's all interconnected, and it's like a web that's connected through consciousness or whatever. It's all consciousness, but
I mean,
I don't know. They don't understand that oneness shit.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's something we're actually gonna expand upon later. So,
oh yeah,
it should be.
That'll be on the next podcast, maybe, or this one. I don't know. We still have a lot of time.
Yeah. I want to talk about anger.
Sweating my ass off.
Anger when it comes to spiritualism, because a lot of people seem to think if you get angry, you can't be spiritual.
Oh yeah.
And my reply to that is, anger is passion. Mm-hmm. And if you're getting angry about something, it means you care about it. And if you care about something, how can you say that caring about something to the point where you are frustrated and filled with passion about it, that's a bad thing that spiritual people shouldn't be experiencing? Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, so I don't see anger as a bad thing. I don't see it as any kind of... I don't see how it has... Well, okay, I see it how it has the bad stigma attached to it, because people seem to think getting angry has to mean lashing out at someone or destroying something, and I think a spiritual person that gets angry maybe should not be going out to kind of hurt someone with that anger, but I think the anger itself could be channeled into something that's actually very useful or creative in its own right. So I don't see anger as something bad for spiritual people at all.
No, it can't be. I mean, what you were saying is passion. It's just a reflection of your passion towards something. I mean, if we didn't have anger, it'd be one less thing that wouldn't make us human. I mean, I'm sure Buddha got angry sometimes.
I imagine if
Deepak Chopra, whatever.
I imagine
Gandhi.
If like any of these big influential kind of prophets, like Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, whatever you want to call them, like, if you look at them, if they came to Earth and they saw how it is right now, I think they'd be angry too, and with complete right in that as well. But I think the difference is they wouldn't go, it's all your fault, that's it, like, you should be punished. They would go, okay, how are we going to fix this? Like, how are we going to change this? They would put it to use. They wouldn't kind of chastise people with it.
Of course not. I couldn't see them doing that, and that makes me thinking about the second coming of Christ, but we cannot get in. I don't want to get into that right now, but
that would be a fun one.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. But yeah, when I get angry, and you do sometimes, that people not angry but frustrated with some big spiritual leaders on Twitter, they end up making us look bad because they use their good vibes only shit, and really you're just trying to help them. Usually you're just that's my motive for doing so.
I mean, like, I have had to kind of, not had to, but I have felt like I should kind of say something to some of the big accounts, and like not tell them how to be or what to be or anything like that, but just kind of say, like, I appreciate your initial motives, but now it kind of looks like you're letting other things get in the way, and
it looks like you need to rethink rethink things. Like they're aiming. Here's the target they're aiming for, and they're like missing it by that much, like by an inch. And I'm like, you're close. I mean, I don't want to tell you what you should be aiming for, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I understand you completely. I mean, I got a lot of love for the community out there, but it just feels like a lot of them seem to have let the growth of their account or the attention they get kind of go to their head a little.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's expected. People, sometimes they kind of react adversely to attention, but as long as they kind of refocus it, they bring it back down to earth and they say, okay, like, alright, yeah, I did make a mistake there. They own up to it and they get back to what they were initially intending to do, then I got no issues.
And to start another topic, that's what life's all about. And people that I know, they view their mistakes as they deserved it, or that was like a punishment from God or whatever. They I don't know, some shit like that. Like they did something bad, they did some wrong, and that was their karma. And I'm like, no, man, it's not like that. Like, and they let it traumatize them and keep them shackled.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're supposed to view. I think this is common knowledge to everyone that follows us, or most people that do. That mistakes are supposed to only be viewed as lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
this is simple wisdom.
I don't even like the word mistakes. I've gone as far as to say mistakes don't exist, and people have been like, how the fuck can you say mistakes don't exist? Like, have you never, like, gone the wrong way in life? Like, literally, like, walked the wrong way, walked down the wrong road or something. I'm like, yeah? And they're like, so how's that not a mistake? And I'm like, did I learn something from it? And they're like, probably. And I'm like, so it's not a mistake, is it?
Yeah.
And people don't get that. And it's not really my place to continually tell them. Like, if they don't accept that, then they can have their own belief on it, but that's mine.
Yeah. It's like that quote from that Robert Frost book. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, I took the road less traveled by, and that made all the difference, or whatever, something like that, like along those lines. And that has something to do with that. I mean, just the wrong path. You took that for a reason. If you learn from it, it was worth it, in my opinion.
I like to say that there are no mistakes, only longer paths. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that was back when I was like first starting my account. That's what Echo, like Echopedia, Echo is the name.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said to me, and it really stuck in there. Like, ever since, I've never really used the word mistake again.
Here I have to use those kind of words because they don't understand it. Because that's like the only terminology I could use to make it make sense to them.
Yeah.
But I try to like separate their minds from that term and just bring to something a lot deeper than that. I don't know.
I agree. Like, it's about making it approachable by everyone.
Yeah. Like mass appeal. Yeah.
That is the word. You look confused, but that is it. So, I mean, should we dive into the real controversial one?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes, we should.
Okay. All spiritualists use psychedelics.
I'm tripping on acid right now, bro. I've been tripping for the past 10 days, bro. I'm just fucking with you.
So, I don't quite know where this kind of ideal came from.
The Trippy King.
I could probably guess where a lot of the influence came from, but in my own experience, I would not say that's true, and I wouldn't say that because you haven't done a certain psychedelic or because you haven't done a certain substance of any kind that you're not spiritual. I wouldn't ever say that.
Hell no. That's fucking preposterous.
I love that word.
Someone said that. Someone said that to me. I was like, you don't do psychedelics anymore? I'm like, no. You're not spiritual then. I'm like, okay.
If that's how you want to define it, but I mean...
Yeah.
The spirituality itself is quite nebulous, like, it's quite hard to define, it's quite hard to put limits on, and to say that, you're not spiritual because you haven't done a certain substance, I mean, it even relates to weed. Like, some people seem to think to be spiritual you need to smoke weed. Like,
yeah,
I don't
even smoke no more.
I know people who've never tried weed in their life. They've never tried a psychedelic in their life, and they're some of the most spiritual people I know. So, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what tool you're using, as long as you're thinking. That's what matters.
Yeah. But psychedelics, they are like a kickstart to spiritualism.
Oh, for sure.
I won't deny that. I mean, there's no requirements like for being spiritual except for what being spiritual entails. The obvious.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Oh yeah, but I'll admit that the use of psilocybin and lysergic acid helped me a lot in the molding of who I am now.
I mean, that's understandable, and I can see why people go that route. Yeah. But I think sorry, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt, but I'll just continue after you. So continue.
Okay, right. Well, I don't like to see that people take a psychedelic and then they attribute everything that's happened to that psychedelic rather than themselves, because that's what kind of diverges from the purpose, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I see like psychedelics, not salvia. Fuck salvia. Salvia's bullshit. I cannot stand salvia.
That was the only one that I had a good trip on.
Oh no! I mean, I had a good trip on it, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what the hell that was, but it wasn't strong enough to where I broke through.
Yeah.
But I was still under, and everything. I was walking around my friend's backyard, and everything looked like a Fisher Price playset, and I was touching the grass and looked plastic, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh shit!
That was so stupid. I was like, "I'm never doing this shit again." But I feel like psilocybin and dimethyltryptamine, if you want to be an asshole, like, correct me for saying dimethyltryptamine. And LSD, they all dig up everything you have buried in your subconscious, and the places in front, like the psychedelic or whatever, something divine, if that's how it is, places everything you've been avoiding in front of your face and makes you face them, and it's just like epiphany after epiphany and after epiphany. When I first did mushrooms, I did it for like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trip balls, but I had a lot of shit I wasn't confronting.
Yeah.
Like my demons or whatever, my demons.
Yeah.
And I tripped, and I ended up fucking just sitting down thinking. When I started coming down, I was like, damn, man.
Damn.
Like for like an hour and a half, I realized so much, and that was the beginning of my transformation.
I mean, yeah.
And
they do.
After that, I started researching like spiritualism and just meditation and ascension, because I think that's a reward for being spiritual, just ascending into higher planes of existence in your next life,
or even in this life. Like,
it
depends on the point of view, but
I mean, higher planes of consciousness, higher planes of existence. That here. Then,
I mean,
that's just my view.
One thing I will say about psychedelics is I came across this quote from Maharaji, which is have you ever heard of Ram Dass?
Yeah, isn't it like some dude?
He's his guru.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, basically, after taking 1,200 microns or micrograms, I don't know, but he takes a lot of fucking acid, and after he's taken it and like it has no effects on him, Ram Dass is like, okay, explain to me why didn't it affect you? And he turns around and he says, like, what affects me kind of thing. He's in control. But after that, he says people seem to think, like, psychedelics are these new developments, but there's, like, dating back, I don't know how long, but in a form of yoga called Raja Yoga. There is documented usage of psychedelics in this Eastern philosophy, and Maharaji says on it, it's better to become a god than to be in the presence of a god for a few hours. And what he means by that is, instead of relying on this substance to bring you to the state that you want to be in, instead become that state of existence, become it rather than use it. Which...
Damn, that's deep.
Yeah, and he goes on to say that psychedelics can improve your belief and improve your confidence in your ability to reach those states, but it's always important to remember that it is you that has reached that state, and it is you that's going to need to reproduce that state, so...
Damn.
Yeah, damn, those Eastern teachers, they go deep.
This is, and also on psychedelics, some people I know think there's something new, and the usage of them is something new, and I read in the Spirit Molecule book, I don't know if you read that or not.
I watched the documentary, I didn't actually get around to reading it.
It's a good book, you should read the first. Until it actually gets into the experiences with people, it's kind of not boring. It's interesting, but it's just you just read it and you're like, all right, when am I gonna get to the fun part where it actually tells the stories of what happens while they're tripping? And it says that psychedelic use, specifically psilocybin use, is the foundation of our belief systems. They tripped balls and created God. I feel like someone just stumbled upon what they didn't know were psychedelic mushrooms, and they just ate way too many, went out of it for 7 hours, experienced whatever, came back, and they tried to explain it, and that's how the idea of God started. In religion. Wouldn't surprise me.
Back when we were foraging for food and stuff, it would make sense that they would come across some mushrooms and eat them. And that's how a religion could end up being formed. I would say it's quite plausible, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. It seems more than just a mere possibility to me. It makes perfect sense. I've been on some trips where I'm like, all right, I know what God is now. I figured it out. I've talked to gods and entities. They told me some shit, and yeah.
Then you're like, damn, I'm not doing that again.
I come back and I'm like, oh shit, should I do that again or no? I don't know, man. It's been 45 minutes. Hell yeah, this is successful. Feels like it's been 10 minutes.
45. It's been 33.
Oh, since we're Skyping.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Sweet.
Okay.
But, yeah. You want to go into oneness or the states of consciousness?
I think we should define what spirituality means to me. To us.
To us, yeah.
I'll let you start.
Spirituality to me is the exploration of self, and the growing understanding of self, and along with that comes meditation and astral projection and what many know who are familiar with spiritualism.
Yeah.
But to put it simply, it's the exploration of self, and when you know that matter is a mirror, and whatever energy I project onto you is just how I feel about myself, or just myself in essence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just self. But self doesn't mean being selfish. It's self transmutes into selflessness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's hard to describe. I don't want to put it in terms, because I feel like when you put it into terms, you stray away from what it actually means, and it's something that shouldn't be explained but felt.
I completely agree. Helping yourself to help others. that kind of idea.
Yeah, it's just living by that.
I mean,
but I don't want to put it into words because it's just something you shouldn't do. That like
yeah.
In the Eckhart Tolle books I've read, he says like when you associate it with a term or form or anything like that, it just you're misfiring.
Yeah. You're diverging from the intended meaning.
Yeah. You should. It's something you should experience, and not have to describe to people.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Yeah.
I
don't know. I'm not trying.
I guess spirituality to me is more everything. I think by nature we are inherently spiritual. I think our very existence in itself is spiritual, but spiritualism is more... Well, I guess everything can be considered spiritualism if you... With the right mindset, there's not a lot that you couldn't consider spiritual, because everything we experience and everything we're doing is, it's in the name of growth or in the name of, experience. So I guess spiritualism to me, it's, it's undefinable, but at the same time, to put it simply, it is just what we are. And the reason we're kind of straying so far from it lately is because we're out of touch with ourselves. Like, that's the key of it all, really. We're out of touch, not just with each other, but definitely ourselves.
Remember, since we're more focused on the external world, that inevitably makes us out of touch with ourselves, which then
it has a knock-on effect.
Then it projects outwards, and it just affects everyone else too. Because I don't know, it's really complex but simple, and just I feel it, but
it's something that should be felt at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. When you feel it, you'll know it. You'll know what we're talking about.
And I guess to link in it, spiritualism ultimately leads to oneness.
Oh yeah.
And oneness is something that a lot of people they can't get their heads around it, and
it's such a simple wait, damn it, my head is a little bit nebulous right now. And it's just such a simple concept.
Yeah.
They can't really wrap their heads around.
I mean,
it's not that complicated. It really isn't.
It simply is. We are all one. Everything is one.
I imagine it being like a web.
Yeah.
That's all. Everything, like each part of the web. There's imagine the universe being one web, and without all of us. Right now, we're all dividing ourselves from each other.
Yeah.
Like here in America, we're like, oh yeah, America, fuck yeah, we're the greatest country in the world, and I'm sure that's how it is in other nations too.
Yep.
It's just England or Saudi Arabia or Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. It's all fucking nationalism and individualistic mindsets, and we're hurting ourselves.
Yeah.
Badly. Badly.
We don't.
In 100 years, we're gonna like crash into oblivion. I think. Some people are like, no, that won't happen. I'm like, come on, look where we're headed. There's gonna be like a World War III, and that's gonna be it.
I'm surprised there hasn't been already. That's the honest truth.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was happening in like 2012, 2013.
But I guess oneness is, it's like, even to go as far as say, I am me and you are you, that is diverging from oneness in its essence. And
holy shit.
I guess people don't seem to realize the levels at which it goes to. Like, you can't believe in oneness and then say, oneness with condition. It's oneness or no oneness.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, but if you don't do this, you can't be one. And it's like, no, like, by stating that, you're just diverging from oneness altogether. So
yeah.
I don't think people realize quite the depth and the immensity of oneness.
Yeah. I say, like, nothing castrates you from the oneness of everything. Like, it's all part of the divine plan that we're all creating.
Yeah.
And sustaining.
Okay, so we're just taking a break, but we're back now. So we left off on oneness.
The notion of oneness. We could finish it.
The notion of oneness. And we're now going to speak about what we think spirituality takes us. Well, not what it's going to take us to, but some of the ideas of what it could lead to, like our spiritual experiences. Like what we think that the possibilities of what it's going to bring to us. So, I mean, my first one would be kind of, I guess the whole ultimate goal for me is kind of going not into oneness, but feeling oneness, experiencing oneness, and being able to have everyone else recognizing the oneness of us.
We obviously can't go into oneness because we're still in this physical plane, the 3D plane. But we could. I want to be aware of it. I'm aware of it, and I want others to be aware of it.
Yeah, and I think kind of it's going to be a topic for another time. But I think like the return of Christ consciousness is going to enable us to kind of feel it on a more intimate level than we can currently perceive.
And until the fucking older generations die off that run the world, we will not experience it. They'll keep that shit suppressed for as long as they possibly can. Like, under God we trust. I'm like, no, in God we trust. That's the biggest lie ever told.
I agree.
The biggest lie. It's like right on the piece of paper. That's our God. Money is our God.
It is for most, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people it is. Their whole fucking lives are ruled by it.
So, I mean, I guess to me, oneness is like one of the ultimate goals, but
read this.
I guess for sure.
People watching.
But I guess, before kind of the integration into oneness and stuff, I think, that's going to require some raising in not just states of consciousness, but states of existence, like...
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Like new dimensions, ascending dimensions, like... But, I don't know, like, most of that's speculation, because I wouldn't want to say anything with definitively, because, like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's all hypothetical.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of what we talk about is... So, I mean, what do you think your kind of spirituality is going to lead you to? Like, what's your beliefs?
I feel like, well, it's obvious to you, but pertaining to this earthly existence, it will lead me to peace. Obviously, I'll have times where my cage is rattled and just shaken up, and I might go through another stage of heartache and just sadness. So I don't want to label it, but yeah, it's just bad experience.
Yeah.
Or experiences in this existence. It's all about growing. Spiritualism will lead me to growth and have the perception of what many would deem as mistakes as just lessons. Like we went into earlier. and post exiting this vessel, I imagine it could lead me to other planes of existence and not just in my consciousness on Earth. In consciousness on Earth, it will lead me to. I hope it will lead me to Christ consciousness. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like I'm close to that, achieving Christ consciousness, and Stereotypes and I, we understand what that means. A lot of people don't, so if you want to know about that, research it on your own. I will not tweet you what it is. But, yeah, after I leave this body, I might be able to, with the ascended masters, or the spirit masters, or what many call spirit guides, they might allow me to explore further dimensions. And then I could be like a guardian, what they call a guardian angel here. I could just float around consciously without a body, but just as a raw, infinite soul, one with everything, type of shit. Yeah, assisting, and yeah, I really don't know. It's all hypothetical and all just imaginary and just mere possibilities, but. Yeah, I really don't know. What I imagine, you shouldn't imagine. You should have your own image of what spiritualism can lead you to. Spirituality, spiritualism, same shit, kind of. Yeah, just have your own view on that shit. It's not about his or I opinion on spirituality or spiritualism mimicking yours. It's about you forming your own belief, and that's what life's all about.
I completely agree.
Like. Don't just take our views and just make it your own and just, yeah, that's what I believe. That's not you believe. That's what the fuck that's what we said, and that's what you decided to fucking take as your own truth. Create your own fucking truth. Create that shit. That's what life's all about. Just finding your own truth within.
I mean, we do tweet about that a lot.
Yeah.
It's, to us, what we believe doesn't necessarily have to be considered any form of truth. Like,
yeah. It's our truth. It's my truth, and that's your truth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your truth. Your truth is whatever the fuck you want it to be.
Yeah, like we should let people create their own. And I mean, that's not to say that we can't speak of what we believe, but I think it's important to remind people that what we believe and what they believe could differ. They should differ, really, but. It's all growing. Like we don't take that to heart. You shouldn't take that to heart. Like, this is a growing experience for us, and developing your own spiritual truths is like the first step of stepping into your own divinity. Like, taking power for yourself.
I mean, speaking of the divinity you went in, this could be another topic we could dive into right now if you want to, but.
Yeah.
When I say to people that believe God is external and you need to worship to find God or go to heaven.
Heaven.
Oh, heaven. And yeah, it's just the divine is within and you are a part of it and nothing could separate you from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you do, but I'm just speaking to the listeners.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
It's simple. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated to anything more than that. It's just the divinity is within.
And it always is gonna
be. Nothing could take you away from that. Nothing could diverge you from the path of the divine within.
I agree. I think a lot of people kind of. They externalize these things, and by externalizing these things, it takes away from, these things, like the divine within. That's a feeling, like oneness. They're feelings. They're not something that we can easily translate into wording, and people forget that, and they forget that actually we should be experiencing these things, not talking about them. Like. The discussion of them is okay, but like ultimately they do need to be felt. They need to be experience, they need to be played with. Like, these things, they are feelings.
Yeah.
They're deep rooted within. They're not something that you need to kind of explain. They're just something you need to just fully immerse yourself into.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway.
I completely understand what you're saying, and we're on the same page, and that's good. That's great, and it's just oneness is something like we've said multiple times now. It's just something you cannot or you shouldn't try to explain.
I mean, your conceptual mind, you know, like you can't conceptualize oneness because it's so incomprehensible, but at the same time entirely comprehensible.
Yeah.
Like, it's everything and it's nothing. Like, that is the complete, it's the ultimate paradox, and it's the ultimate, like, truth of our existence is it is everything and nothing. And like, whilst it's easy to kind of say we're one, trying to define what one feels like or what one is, like, damn, that's
you can't attribute a definition to something like that. If we do, it'll be incorrect because everyone will have their own definition of it.
It's like trying to put infinity into any other word, you know, like there is no other word for it. It encapsulates it all. There is no one word that could ever define it, and
it's more personalized.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I have trouble kind of conveying my thoughts in general, but trying to convey the feeling of one, that's like it's like me trying to ask like describe the color blue. Like,
yeah, like,
it's fucking blue.
You can describe it, you can feel it. Like, you and Nico and I, when I joined in that hell of a conversation, we were talking about the color orange. Like, you could describe it, but that doesn't mean you won't feel orange, and you know, whatever you're saying.
You could see someone eat an orange.
Yeah.
And you could read about someone eating an orange, and you could hear someone eating an orange, but until you eat the orange, you don't understand.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not hard to get your head round, but at the same time, it is. And that's just the paradox of it all.
It's a beautifully fucked up paradox.
I agree. So, I mean, I guess, you know, like, closing statements for now. Yeah, you know, oneness is all of us, and the divinity within is kind of, you know, it is.
Yeah.
These are things that we need to experience and not talk about.
When I tell people that don't understand where I'm coming from, they're like, when I say I am a God, I'm not saying I am God. I'm just saying I recognize the divine within. And I'm not saying you don't have divine within. Everyone does. It's all the same fucking thing. We're mirrors of each other.
We're interconnected.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's simple but complex to most.
I agree. It's a good paradox to leave this on, really, isn't it?
Yeah. We're just shy of an hour right now. You got 30 seconds till 55 minutes.
Yeah.
And
should we stop?
Any closing statements? I hope all of you listeners enjoyed this podcast. There will be many more to come on the Ethereal Experience.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some hell of a topics lined up for you, but we're gonna keep those secret for now, so you have to tune in next time.
This is just the introduction to it all.
Welcome to our worlds.
Yeah. Welcome to our worlds.
Right, well. I guess this is peace from me, and
we're all one.
I hope we are all one. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and take it easy.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Think for yourself. Do your own research. Yeah, pretty much. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Be good.
All right, let's stop.
Thank you for listening.